we go. I have always had a fascination with the paranormal. The moment where our mortality bends and stretches beyond our constrained world and into the beyond. I mean, I grew up at the library reading stories, and the inside joke with everyone was that my entire library history was just ghost stories, demons, paranormal, ha ha ha. However, that doesn't necessarily make me somebody who believes that the drop of a pin is a ghost. I try my best to have the most skepticism at heart. And I think that that balances well with the things that I've experienced that are inexplicable to me. And I've told all my friends these ghost stories 1.5 million times, but like with scattered details or just not very in depth. And I finally just want to make one of the many stories that I've just had as a back burner in my brain for so long. And I want to not believe that anything and everything can be ghostly. But I think, enough of a roster of experience to say, yes, believe, and I wish I could push that onto other people, but I don't really need to. And I know what I know, because I played with a Ouija board, and of course, that's where this all starts. Basically, with the Ouija board, it's not necessarily something that is good or bad, it's just openness. It's just, you knock on the door and someone might answer or somebody might not answer. You're knocking on an unknown door. But I've never gotten a result from a Ouija board besides this one experience in my life. And even this experience, I still think is like my brother and I playing with this Ouija board. And to give context, my best friend Julia, growing up, her dad, for some reason, like this one Christmas, decided to buy like 10 Ouija boards and hand them out for Christmas, like the same way that people would hand out like Starbucks gift cards. Like they were just in bulk at his house. And, he, through the Christmas season, he'd just be giving them out, and people were like, okay, like, and we just took one because we were like, can we just have one? Because you have like 9 others. And he was like, yep, go ahead, don't really care. And so we tried it, it never worked. And my brother and I tried it, and it worked. To us, in my brain, because I do believe that it's the back end of your brain, like, pushing it forward to the results that you want to see, or just random letters and numbers, and I don't fully believe in it. But I do believe in the fact that the practice of sitting at a table in hopes of opening to things is what gets you the results, in my opinion. I don't think it's necessarily the board itself, but I do think it's the context of the board and how you believe what could happen with the board. And so that's what I feel like garnered us a thing to come visit us. And with the energy of whatever was happening in the house in my childhood at that point, my parents were separating, and we were about to leave our childhood home. And this is all we ever knew. We had never lived anywhere else. I'd always lived in that same house up until I was 13 when this happened. So I feel like whatever came because there was so much stress in the house. We were leaving like within the next 2 months, just starting to pack and get everything kind of together. So you aren't leaving in like the best circumstances possible. So it came knowing that, in my opinion, in my professional opinion of ghost hunting. So, it started with small instances after my brother and I played with the Ouija board because it was at our house. But I think because Julia wanted to connect as well at that time, it contacted like me, her, and my brother whenever the 3 of us were in the house. And so like there'd be times where like Julia's earring would fall out of her ear, hit her knee, and then it would go like flying across the room with that, totally against the laws of physics. And then there would be times where like I would, watch a penny or a pendant fly across the room with no context. And for some reason, your brain just decides, like, that's odd, but not crazy odd. I guess your brain just goes like, for me, it just went, okay, interesting, weird, moving on. And it was smaller things. It would be like a set of headphones would shuffle on the table, and I didn't touch the table. The room didn't shake. There wasn't a random earthquake or anything like that. It would just be like very minor things that you just go, okay. And your brain just explains itself, and that's fine. And if you ever want to move on from that point, good riddance, enjoy your boring life without ghosts. But this is my life with them. And so then the events started to get a little more hectic, I think, as the family was getting more hectic with what was happening in our personal lives. And I remember one of my brother's friends was on Skype with him and thought I was in the background, and that I was running around in the background of my brother's room and was too scared to tell my brother. So when he came to our house, he told my mom. And my mom was like, she wasn't home yesterday night, or, you know, however they fulfilled the context of the situation. Like, I was not in the house. I was at Julia's house or something else. Like, I was just not there. And so everybody got so freaked, and they didn't really want to tell my brother that, like, somebody was behind him on Skype. And then it would be weird things, like I would come home and see somebody wearing all red run across the top of the stairs that no one was wearing, or maybe it's my eyes playing on me, da da da. Keep brushing it off, keep brushing it off. But the one that convinced me, and to this day will convince me, that things are apparent, that we kind of have some blending of two worlds going on at weird moments in our lives. These things converge and diverge, is that I remember sitting on the computer playing Sims in the living room, and on the opposite side of the house was my brother's room, down a long hallway. And my dog just started going ballistic, and I thought it was one of the realtors bringing in people for a house viewing, and they weren't. And, like, the dog Scooby is going fucking crazy. And I turn around just to be like, stop, enough. And I see this shadow figure. I see this figure of a young man, like 18 to 19, cowering in the corner from where my dog is barking at him. But he's not fully there, and there's no way in any word to describe that feeling of confusion. Of, it's almost like your mind's eye projecting in front of you. It's not a full ghostly apparition, but it's almost like your eyes are playing out what a daydream would play in front of you. That sounds very complicated, but when you have the dog reacting to the thing that you're seeing in front of you, no words. Completely confusing, and you try to strategize, and, like, I don't remember getting up and running out of the house being like, it's a ghost. I just remember being like, blank confusion, and I think your body just goes into, nope, no processing, done, not understanding this, closing that off. But the big one that happened was that I was out of the house. I was at Julia's probably, and my brother and that same friend from the Skype thing heard somebody break in downstairs. And my mom was so skeptical through this entire experience. You know, there'd be times where Julia would see somebody in the backyard, like a little girl. I would see these people when I was coming home from school or her house or something. I was seeing stuff. We kept trying to convince. And my mom was into this stuff, but she was like, no, processing it. No. But she heard somebody breaking into that house. And so I don't know why this was the logical strategy, but they went downstairs to see what was happening with the cordless phone in hand, the two men in front, my mom, and then nothing was there, and nothing had been moved. And then we moved. And that was that. And I've had tons of other weird experiences, and I think I can take some time to talk about those. But they're in different context of my life. They're not weird things are happening around me that I'm confused and have no connection to me. They have connection. Those were different, uplifting, ghostly stories. But this was the only time I have no understanding of who those people were in my house, what it was, and what it was supposed to mean to me, I guess. I feel like if somebody is gonna break that kind of a barrier, if it exists, there has to be some kind of meaning to it. I guess anybody would kind of want to know why, but there was no